Hey everybody, Zach here for Spideydude.com. I'm the executive producer of the Spideydude Radio Network and here on the YouTube channel. And I'm a bit of a toy enthusiast, as has been noted previously, so I want to welcome you to this latest video here on this channel. Boy, you guys were looking forward to the Maximum Series Spider-Man. We got a lot of engagement out of our YouTube short. Until, though, the price was finally revealed, and boy howdy did the worm turn on this particular topic. Now, before we get started, got to mention our Patreon page over at patreon.com/Spideydude Network, as well as our Discord. And I also want to note that any references that I use in this video are going to be linked down in the description below. So, it is the biggest scandal affecting Marvel Legends community, at least this week, because many have weighed in on the controversy, others have tried to stay out of it, and here I am as someone who is a Spider-Man YouTuber and someone who's also a guy that legit loves Marvel Legends. So I'm kind of torn between the two sides. I even knocked on my microphone just now. So I know what's going to happen in the short term, regardless of what side I'm listed as. Oh, you're a shill. Oh, you're an apologist. I get it. But perhaps I can take a bit of a measured approach when it comes to discussing this, and maybe you'll understand at least my stance on it. So like I say, I'm going to dive into the controversy, but I'll kind of give you a little bit of a backstory first, because I feel like that's necessary. If you're like me and grew up in the 1990s, you remember going down the toy aisle and seeing the cornucopia of action figures, largely priced around $5.99 US. These were inexpensive toys designed for kids, and these all ranged in the 5-inch scale and had limited articulation, and there was a lot of reuse over time. These were all done by Toy Biz, if you're talking Spidey. Eventually, to combat the deluxe figures that other companies were producing, Toy Biz decided to introduce the precursor to Marvel Legends line, Spider-Man Classics. You might have heard me talk about this before. This gave us the 1/12 scale 6-inch figure, that had 30 points of articulation and included a free comic book at the time. Now these, in the research I was able to find, were originally priced $19.99 retail and would come with a display of some sort as well. Now, as a bit of an aside here, I do want to mention that some of this is going off memory. Some of this is going off of, like my own personal memory. But I was talking about it with Javi a minute ago, or a little while ago, while I was working on this video, and he seemed to like bring up other price points like $7.99, $11.99, $14.99. So I may be wrong when I'm talking about this, but I'm using Action Figure 411 as my source. So take that as a bit of a grain of salt, I suppose. So like using that particular price point, we're going to kind of stick in that with this video, but I just kind of wanted to give that point as a bit of an aside here. So this price point would largely be the same until about 5 years ago, when we started to see the price point slowly increase. Now, starting in 2021, we started seeing price increases ranging from $20.99, $21.99 to $22.99. And then in 2022, we started seeing today's pricing of $24.99. Now, this has led to a lot of consternation amongst the community for a lot of reasons. A lot of people are feeling like they're getting priced out of the hobby. But let's take a step back for a second, shall we? Now, if we're using that $19.99 price point, according to the CPI inflation calculator, $19.99 in 2000, when Spider-Man Classic started, is around $36.64 today, as of this recording, meaning that perhaps we're getting a bargain? If they increase with inflation, I could see that being a factor. Number two, we know that costs have gone up as the pandemic and inflation crisis has hit everything and everyone. And again, I think if this had been gradual over time, it would have been less of an issue, but now, a 6-figure wave that used to cost $120 in 2020, now suddenly costing $150? That's a steep increase. You're basically paying the equivalent of another figure. But what if the point of the Maximum series isn't just that it's replacing the regular wave? What if it's a brand new line, as they said on the live stream, that's not trying to compete with itself, but rather the import market? Now, let's take a look for a second at the import market. You got SH Figuarts, Bandai, Mezco, and Mafex. These are all figures that are offering more at the same 1/12-inch scale. More accessories, more use of cloth accessories, more heads, hands, and even giving you flight stands in some cases. Now, look at the retail price of these particular figures. If you're paying $120 on Big Bad Toy Shop or Nerdzoic, or you're paying $70 on other places. I got to thank Javi for the link. But Zach, we have the CT Toys. Look, I get it. Let me stop you there. CT Toys is using molds from another company, Mofex, and selling it as its own. That's intellectual property theft, folks, and it's no different than if you were to go onto Walmart.com or AliExpress and see that 2021 Black Suit Spider-Man that I still don't even have, the retro card version, for retail price, not realizing that it's actually a knockoff and you're thinking you got a legit deal. By the way, if you go on eBay, it's the same exact thing. The fact is, the Maximum series is trying to give an alternative to that foreign market at a price that is at best $20 cheaper than the import figures, at worst over $50, $50, $70 for that particular. I get the fear. Since the pre-sales have been hugely successful, that's going to be the price of Marvel Legends going forward, and I get it. Hasbro has said in their filings that they are trying to increase profits, and this is a way to do it. I get the worry. I get the concern, mainly due to the fact that you're getting sometimes a lesser quality figure for a price that is more than it used to be. I have issues with them charging $34.99 for the recently announced Electro that's from No Way Home, knowing that it's a figure that we all wanted. It's laughable in terms of the accessories when you look at it. For $5, and it's $5 more than the superior Spider-Man figure that had extra articulated arms, 4 extra hands, and an alternative head that was sold just last year. And let's face it, the figure that we're talking about was clearly inspired from that Todd guy from the 90s, whose name is not only trademarked, but also a direct competitor of Hasbro. Is that why this sold so well? Maybe. We'll see. Until we get it in hand, we can't tell you much more. And I know that's similar stance to what Shartimus Prime got, and I'm probably going to get a lot of grief for it too, but maybe we should take a breath for a second. Maybe you should like what you like and don't be a dick. Like, at this point, you have a responsibility to yourself. If you don't feel like that it's going to benefit you to get this figure, great. But I also saw the scalpers immediately start ordering 5. And that is never good for the community. And it's something that I know is annoying to the rest of us. It's the whole issue with selling out pre-orders because, well, the system's overloaded. This was all available on Big Bad Toy Shop, Entertainment Earth, Amazon, and all your favorite, like, nerdy retailers, GameStop as well. So, yeah, I get it. It's not going to be available at Walmart, and it's not going to be available at Target, where they can charge sometimes lesser of a price. And personally, I would have been okay with it being around $40. I felt like that would have been probably the happy medium. Charging $49.99 is a bridge too far for a lot of people. And this was rumored for weeks, so it's not like it was a complete surprise, but for some, it's like, man, I'll just go buy the import figures, and I get it. Still, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like I say, I will see you soon with more content, more podcasts. But until then, I leave you with this. I happen to share a birthday with the late, great Stan Lee. And from the beginning of the website, we always used to reference him in our goodbyes. So without further ado, as Stan Lee would once say, Excelsior.